magic to show up. It's always that one moment of apprehension before it says you are live. Oh, and we are live with Bad Hair Day today. It's officially Bad Hair Day today. So, today, all about mission, Lisa. Lisa, mission. I'm really excited about today's thing because this is one of my, whilst I love purpose, values, and vision, which we've covered in the last 3 weeks, I love mission purely because I think that whether we've been doing it wrong or the way we've been doing it doesn't work today, or there's just a lot of misconceptions around what mission is. And when I worked out for myself what mission really was, and then the way we structure things, we do it with Circle Leadership now, and I'm like, oh my God, this is just like the magic link, because mission is kind of like the magic link of alignment between culture and strategy.
You know what I see mission as, Dave?
Yeah.
I see mission as the icing and the sprinkles on the cake.
Nice.
Whereby if vision, values, and purpose are the cake, they're great. But when you ice that thing and you put some sprinkles on it, it's just where the magic is, right?
Yeah, well, absolutely. And it's a really good point you make, because the magic, it's great like in anything. It's like ideas are awesome, but execution is everything. And so mission is where we can have this amazing reason to come to work every day, and this unique way of thinking about that, and this vision of this world that does not yet exist, which is like this impact that we're going to have on the world. But without the right mission, you're not going to be able to execute on it. You're not going to be able to bring it into reality, right? And how do you translate that into reality? The shirt, epic. Thank you. By the way, this is the Global Company Culture Association as an ambassador. This is our, the evolution at work. So anyway, and which I thought was really appropriate today, since mission is all about evolving our organizations. That I thought this might be an appropriate shirt to wear today.
I think you've done well.
Thank you. All right. So, so ideas are easy. Execution is everything. All right. And so we can love everything we do in our business and everything like that, but if we don't have a way or a vehicle or a direction that's aligned to that purpose, values, and vision, then we're never going to achieve the things we want in the world anyway. So, like, I guess for me, mission, the most exciting part about mission is that it's the part that starts to bring your vision into reality.
Right. Kind of lands the non-physical into the physical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we can talk about all this intangible stuff, which is really nice, but this is the tangible part. And even, a lot of the stuff is just very emotive and it's very powerful. And not to say that mission isn't, but it's where we start to translate that, all that emotion into action, right? We put the motion in emotion.
I love that.
I like that one. All right.
I've got my book. I'm ready to take notes. I'm here because, as you know, and if anyone that's been following us for a while will know that I'm quite esoteric by nature. So all of that non-physical stuff, the imagery, the feeling, the emotion, I'm all down for. But when I actually have to take that and ground it on this earth plane, that's where I'm like, there's a little bit of sticking point there. So I'm ready with my pen and my notebook. So let's go. Super keen.
Awesome. Okay. So what we're going to cover in a roundabout way today in this live stream on mission is, what is mission and what it's not. And then also what we're going to look is, what's it for? How, like, in terms of what does an organization need to have a mission for? And then how do you craft it? And then I threw in a little bonus at the end. I'm going to talk to you about how to use it.
I love bonuses.
All right. So I just want to quickly then bring this up. So firstly, I want to talk about the need for mission. And I put in here in the next normal, because I'm going to talk onto that just a little bit. I think it's really important to understand it's not only, why mission is important in terms of it's always been important, but why is it even so much more important today in the world because of the way the world is today. And so I want to firstly talk about this next normal concept. So up until about 2019, 2020, everyone was just trundling along the way they were trundling along, right? Then something came along and knocked everything over. Everything got knocked over. We were forced out of our old models, and a lot of us, in terms of our businesses, the way things were structured, the way we ran our businesses, the way we led our businesses, the way we worked, everything got knocked over, and we were sort of forced out of all those old models. And most of us got there without planning for it, right? So it wasn't like, hey, I'm preparing for this. It's just, oh, crap's happened. Now I have to deal with it. So most people were reacting to it rather than being proactive about it in preparation for it. And that Now it gets to the stage where people wait and go, I just can't wait for it to get back to normal. Well, please let me assure you, all of you listening to this or watching this or looking at it later, things aren't going back to normal. Just that the way we used to live, work, play, everything like that is all shifted. Now, then people go, oh, okay, well then, I can't wait for this new normal then to settle down, right? Well, let me assure you that there might be new in terms of a new normal for us, but it's not going to be the only new normal. There's going to be another normal, and then another normal, and then another normal. So it's really important to understand as we're thinking about our businesses going forward into the future and building this vision that we have, and how do we bring that into reality and bring that into that world that we see into today. Well, we're going to have to make sure we're doing that with a lens or thinking that is talking about constantly evolving, because we had normal, then the pandemic came along, and then it created this normal. But guess what? Something else is bound to come along, climate change, you name it, something else will come along, and then there'll be another normal. And then something else will come along, and there'll be another normal. In the past, we used to have like 10 years of, it was 10-year cycles. We'd have 10 years of this, 10 years of that, and it was all predictable, right? Now, what we're having is just a next normal. So if you're preparing for the new normal, then you're just going to, okay, this is the way it's going to be forever now. I'm just going to build my business this way. That would be naive to take that from what we've just gone through.
Absolutely. And it reminds me of our definition of success, Dave, how our definition of success evolves by virtue of us as humans evolving as well. Like it's the same with the next normal. Like that'll be a thing until it's not. And that'll be a thing until it's not. And if, like our definition of success, if you peak, if you reach the top of the mountain and then you just rest on your laurels and sit there, don't lean back in your armchair too far, because what's the only way to go from here is down. So, yeah.
100%. So please understand, things won't go back to normal. There won't be a new normal. There's just going to be the next normal. So when you're thinking about bringing your vision into reality, that's the world that you see and you want to create, you're going to need to make sure that you have a mission, or your missions that you develop are going to be working within a cycle where things are going to be just another normal, another normal, another normal, another normal. If you build it, just say, this is the way it's going to be from now on forever. Like I said, it's a naive way to approach your business. So what we talk to people about is that I think every generation's had their own level of uncertainty, right? But I believe this right now is our generation's most uncertain of times. And that predictability of those 10-year cycles is out the window. But I really believe, at least, that this should be the most exciting of times, because there's no opportunity in predictability, but there's plenty of opportunity in uncertainty, for the simple reason that nobody has a clue as how it should be done. Right?
I love that. That's so good. I'm like, yes, this is the way I've been doing life for 34 years, and now it's a thing. Yes.
Yeah. Nobody has a clue how it should be done anymore. And, and we don't know what's going to come down the pipeline now. There's such an advancement of technology. Let me apologize. There's an acceleration of technology. There's a whole bunch of technology that we weren't ready for that now is being accelerated upon us. And then there'll be further advancements behind that. And, they're talking about the rate of change in the next 10 years to be equal to that of what it was like in the last 100 years.
Wow.
So you imagine, and you think like all the stuff that's happened, and I've lived over half of that 100 years. What's happened through all that time, and they're going to squeeze all that into the next 10 years.
Holy crap, that's mind-blowing, man.
Woo! Yeah, and then that's not including any unpredictable things in terms of, there's certainly predicting that much to change, but like there could be another pandemic, could be, who knows what it could be that could be thrown our way. So we got to make sure we go into this future world now with a mindset that we've learning from what's happened to us. Not just accepting that what's happened to us and now we're dealing with it. We know to also not only accept it, but learn from it. Okay, that's the biggest thing. I was talking to a bunch of leaders yesterday down in the Southwest, and this one thing I said is, everybody's accepted what's happened now. But my question is, how many of you have learned from what's happened? Because we are only who we are today from the learning from the mistakes that we've made, or that we've experienced, not the ones we haven't learned from. Okay, so there's all this. So there's some tremendous opportunity. Are we learning, and are we preparing for the fact that there is going to be just a next normal? And then,
is it possible? Sorry, Dave. And is it possible that the only reason that we have experienced any level of success up until this point is because of the mistakes that we've made and learned from?
Is it possible?
Is it possible? Who would know?
So in these uncertain times, let me assure you of something, that bad businesses will not exist. Good businesses will survive, and great businesses will evolve. So, if your business is okay, it'll survive. But, did you build a business just to survive? Question. So when you're thinking about your organization going forward into these next normals, something we created just to help people to understand, it's not good enough just to rethink your strategy for your business. You also need to rethink the way you think about strategy itself. Okay, so let me just reiterate that. When you're thinking about strategy, it's not enough just to rethink the strategy for your business, but you must also rethink the way you think about strategy, because the world has changed. So yeah, you can put a new strategy in, but if you're not reimagining the way you think about strategy as well as a new strategy, you're going to be left behind. And I'll explain why, and that's what this simple matrix was designed for. So if you keep your old way of thinking and your old strategy in place, I assure you, you will fade away into obscurity. You're just putting your head in the sand and doing what you've always done and hoping that this too shall pass. Okay? Then you can go, okay, well, let's keep our old strategy, but let's think differently about our business. Like this, just change and tweak and adjust our business. And so this tinkering is sometimes disguised as innovation, and we're improving on how we do things in our business. And that's great, and you'll probably survive doing that. And then where most people are focused right now is over here. It's like, okay, well, we're going to keep our old way of thinking about our business, but we're going to come up with a new strategy. We're going to double down on it. We're going to be more for more people. How can we find more people to serve in new markets and do things? But we're just doubling down and delivering more of what we already do for more people. And this is where a lot of businesses experience growth. And this is why there's so much talk about grow your business, grow your stuff. And that's okay. But the danger is that you may grow out of business.
And can I ask about another danger in that there as well, Dave? Is that where the danger as business owners and as people first, is that the burnout zone as well?
Oh, 100%. Like, right. That's such a great point, Lisa. Yeah, this is where we're asking our people to achieve more without helping them to become more. So just do more and more and more, right? How many people do we know in the world today that are working longer and harder than they ever have? Now, yes, we have distributed working and people getting to work from home and all that, but that was all forced and thrust upon us right up to pre-pandemic. People were being, we're just working longer and harder and harder. And why do we think that perhaps there's the great resignation, the great realignment, the great rethinking, whatever people want to coin it as, is because people are tired of getting burnt out, right? So be very careful that for two reasons. One, you could lose a lot of great people, but also that you'll grow out of business. And when I say that, I mean, why you do what you do won't change, but how and what you do can and will always change. And when I was talking to the group, about 14 of them yesterday, I said, can you all bring out your iPods, please? And they're like, what? I haven't had an iPod in years. I said, I know, it's only 18, 19 years old now, the iPod. But how many people listen to music today on a singular only music playing device? Right? Nobody. Okay. So we all still want to listen to music to soothe our savage soul and all that sort of stuff. How we listen to music and what we listen to has changed, right? So if Apple just doubled down and went more iPods, just sell it to make sure every single human on the planet had an iPod, they'd have been out of business because Spotify would have chewed them up. Someone else came with a new how or a new what to do that. Okay, so growing is great. But where you want to be is here. Is you want to not only rethink your strategy, but rethink the way you think about strategy in your business and fundamentally change what is possible and how you serve your customers to reshape your offerings by focusing on why we exist, getting back to purpose. Why you do what you do won't change and it creates opportunity. How and what you do can and will always change. Okay? So when you think about your purpose, it's going to be solving the problem that you're passionate about in this world for the people that you choose to serve. And when you evolve to stay relevant, we talk about evolution as the steady, progressive increase of your capabilities and your capacity for greatness. So when you think about evolving and staying relevant, you're constantly improving. So you're challenging what is possible and how you choose to serve people and the capabilities that your organization or business has. And while you're doing that, then you're increasing your capacity for greatness. So you can have growth of your business, but it must be on the back of evolution. You need to make evolution the natural state of your business where you can have growth spurts during that. But if it's just focused on growth, you could grow out of business. So in order to do that, you're going to need to anticipate some of the stuff in the future, this uncertainty in our future. But, an anticipation is, your ability to foresee problems, disruptions, customers' needs, new opportunities, and all this sort of stuff. So one of the things we challenge people to do is to really start anticipating that. Because let me assure you of this one simple thing. If you don't start anticipating the future needs of your customers, the one thing you can anticipate is not having future customers. Right? And this is why you can double down on everything you're doing and grow and serve that. But if you're not anticipating the future needs and increasing your capabilities and your capacity for greatness, you're going to go grow out a business. And there's one big organization that's in the background of this picture that had as big as year the year before it went broke. Because by the time they decided that it was, yes, we need to do something, it was already too late. Don't wait till it's too late. Because what you're doing is you risk putting yourself out of business. Now, I know I'm going to get back to wrap this up around a mission very, very soon, but this is all important to understand why mission, the way we're about to explain it to you, makes sense. So you have two choices always in your business. You can find a way to put yourself out of business, and that's just putting your old way of doing business out of business, or you can keep doing what you've always done and wait for somebody else to come along and put you out of business. Okay, it's so important to understand this. And this is why we talk about constantly evolving and creating evolution as a natural state of your business. So how do you build evolution as a natural state of your business where you're constantly anticipating the future needs of your clients, that you're steadily, progressively increasing your capabilities and your capacity for greatness so you can stay relevant in the hearts and minds of the people that you choose to serve? Because my question to most business owners and leaders is, are you waiting for a new business to come along and rub your nose in a future that you were destined to own, but you just didn't do anything about it? Because you were too busy growing your business, being more for more. And then along came somebody who came up with a new how and what and put you out of business or took significant market share away from you. And this is a real serious point here. Don't wait for someone else to come along and rub your nose in a future that you were destined to own, please. But once again, it takes courage for you to take action to build that organization that will put yourself out of business. You're the best person to do it. Put yourself out of business. Because you're only putting your old way of doing business out of business. So, what does this all have to do with mission? So I want to just lay out the landscape and the importance of all this stuff, considering what's going on. Because it's great to say, oh, we need to have a mission and we do this and here's what it is. But I want you to understand the landscape and what it's going to be, where you're going to have this mission in, and make sure you understand that this is why we challenge you to do mission the way that we challenge you to do it. So we've already talked about purpose a few weeks ago, which is why does our business exist? What is the problem we're here to passionately solve in the world? Then we looked at our values. What makes us unique in the way we think about that problem we're passionate about solving? And then we said, well, if we've been living that purpose through the lens of those values for the next 10 or 20 years, what does the world look like? What's the impact that our business is going to have on this world if we continue to live that purpose through the lens of those values for the next 10 or 20 years? Right? Thus, the three parts of the cultural framework. Then we talk about the alignment between culture and strategy. Can you imagine when you have all that that clarity of your business in terms of the narrative of your business, and they go, well, how do we, to our point earlier, Lisa, how do we get it so we can set up to execute and bring all that to life in this world, right? So then mission becomes then, well, then who do we need to become to start creating that world? If we've now worked out that this is a vision world, can you imagine a world where this is happening? Like, this is what it looks like now. How amazing would that be? All we have to do is go, well, in the next 3 years, and we work on 3-year cycles, you can choose 4 or 5, whatever you want, but 3 years, who would your business need to become to start creating that world? And that looks at what is the next evolution of your business? Because I guarantee you, everybody listening or watching this, if you go back to 3 years ago, if your business was around 3 years ago, is your business today the exact same as it was 3 years ago? And I highly doubt it. And then I would ask you the same question. Your business today, in the next 3 years, will it be the same as it is today? Highly doubt it. Because business is a series of evolutions. So what's the next evolution of your business? And that's what mission is. And that's just, who do we need to become? Okay. And once we work out who we need to become, that's what will help you to determine the strategy, which we've just talked about, all these things around strategy and having a strategy based on evolution, and not only reimagining the strategy, but the way you think about strategy. That's because if you do your mission right in this next normalish world, you'll be working out who we need to become. And then in 3 years, we'll go, okay, well, then now who do we need to become? And then now who do we need to become? And now who do we need to become? As we constantly evolve as an organization to stay relevant in the hearts and minds of the people that we choose to serve. So we've talked about it here. If this in the business evolution roadmap, we'll know why our purpose is, we know our values, and here's our vision. And the alignment between culture and strategy occurs when we design a mission to become an organization that will start to create the world that we see. And that's where the alignment, and this is why I believe that culture actually acts as a shield to protect strategy, where we've heard the old adage that culture eats strategy for breakfast, lunch, dinner, all these things. But the reason why that existed in the past is because of the way we did mission or the way we did strategy. But when you do it this way, the strategy is actually born from culture because the mission comes from the vision. And therefore, then the strategy is, how do we build this business in the next 3 years? And then your culture won't actually eat strategy anymore, because the seed of culture purpose is thread through your values to create a world that you see by building the organization that brings all that into reality. So there's total congruence and alignment of the soul and DNA of your business through the whole thing. So you never ever have to worry about culture eating strategy for breakfast again. So in the end, your mission is, who does our organization need to become to start creating the world that we see? And you should be able to clearly articulate that in 10 words or less to us as to who it needs to become. And this guy here, Jeff Bezos, he said, what's dangerous is not to evolve. And if you look at what Amazon, from where it went to where it is today, it just started selling books online to now it's increased its capabilities and capacities and all the things it does. I just added and stay relevant on the bottom, because it's so great. It's dangerous not to evolve, but you also have to do it in a way where you stay relevant. Okay. And as we talked about, where you were in the past to where you are now to where you need to be in the future, you need to really just map out what's the next evolution of your business. All right. And some other examples of missions that our clients have had in the past is, one of our clients that we're working with you now is, we need to become educators of the importance of continuous care. We need to become WA's premier partner influencing building design. We need to be the integrators of current technology and emerging trends. We need to become the proven model for thinking and acting human first. We must become Australia's advocate for better business. We must become the influential standard of accessible quality. We must become the systematic innovators of scale. Whatever it is, who do you need to become in the next 3 years to start creating the world that you see? So who will you become? Who will you become? Who will your organization become? Because no different to us as human beings, as we constantly evolve, to Lisa's point earlier, as I've become the best version of myself, then who do I need to become next? Then who do I need to become next? And who do I need to become next to continue bringing my infinite capacity for greatness to this world? And when the cool part here, where this comes back to it, is once you've worked out who your organization needs to become in the next 3 years, this is the real cool part. Then who do you need to become as the leader then to lead that business? And this is why when we talk about that, we're here to help leaders evolve themselves and their businesses to stay relevant, because you as the leader have built this business. Now you go, oh, we need to become this now. Well, our challenge to you is, well, who do you need to become to lead that business? Because this leader led this business or built this business. So you need to constantly evolve yourself. And this is why we work with leaders who only want to evolve themselves first. Because if you don't evolve, your business won't evolve. And if you don't create that space and capacity for your team to evolve, then you're just going to get, and then all your good people are going to leave because you're not making room for them to evolve with you and the organization.
Boom, brother. Mic drop.
Okay, so a couple last things I want to talk about then. So hopefully this helps people to understand, the environment that we're in, why having a mission is so important. And your mission is the thing that will create the strategy. And your vision is what creates the mission. So our vision goes, here's the mission then, is to build this organization to start bringing that world into reality. Then we map out our strategy. We're going to talk about it a little bit more next week in the methodology in which we use to help people formulate that strategy. But please understand that your mission, the business you must become, then actually is what dictates the strategy. And the quote we used back in the vision session that we did was Antoine Saint-Exupéry's quote. And he said that if you want to build a boat, don't gather the men and women to garnish the material. Just give them a yearning for the vast and endless sea, and they'll do whatever the heck it takes to build the boat. So the vision is that yearning for the vast and endless sea. The mission is the boat. Okay, so this is now where those two things connect. So when you're crafting your mission, please understand in 10 words or less, you should be able to clearly articulate who you need to become in the next 3 years. The simple way to do that is to say, I get people right now, we challenge people, business owners, leaders, to write down, how would you describe the business today? Who is the business today? Who is it today? And when you map that out, because for two reasons. One, so it helps you to understand where you are today, but also whatever you craft as a business is actually closer to where you are, then it's not really a next evolution, right? And then also we could go back 3 years ago. If you'd said, who do you need to become? Would that be what you would have written? So right where you are today, describe your business today in 10 words less. We are the whatever it is. And then go, okay, now we know what our vision is. Well, then who would we need to become just to start creating that world? What's just that next evolution? Well, we might need to become the catalyst, the educators, the leaders of, the something of. What is it? Who is it you need to become? Right? And then be able to articulate that in 10 words or less. Now, for anybody who's watching this, we have a workbook. And if you put hashtag mission evolves in the comments, there's all the tools and stuff on how to craft all the stuff that's in the workbook for you. The last part I want to share with all of you, though, is then how to use mission. And this was really important. And I was sharing this with the guys yesterday down south. Now, I don't have a big enough space here to do it like a virtual, like I did in the conference room I was speaking in yesterday. But if you go, so where I want to go to this side of the screen. Okay, so if I go over this side of the screen, here's where we are today. And then we've realized in the next 3 years over here, I'll come over to here. In the next 3 years here, this is who we need to become, okay, to create the world that we see. And we would go, if we're dealing with something today, and we go, well, hang on, if we were actually this organization now, what would we be doing in 3 years from now that we're not doing today? And what of that could we start doing now? Because the important part here is, it's almost like we don't go out to our mission. What we do is we slowly but surely are bringing our mission into reality. Because when we start going, well, hang on, if we're here in 3 years' time and this is what we'd be doing, what of that could we start doing now? And one of my most despised expressions in the world today is the fake it till you make it clan. Okay, so please let me just a little segue on here, a little sidebar. If anyone tells you to fake it till you make it, please run far, 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 far away from that person as you can. You do not need to fake anything in life. Now, getting back to reality here, the reason I only share that with you is because what I want you to do is to act as if you're already that business. So if we're sitting here in today and we go, okay, but in 3 years we'd be that business. Well, what of that could we do? And let's just act as if we're already that. Let's start doing that now. What of that could we start doing now and start implementing that? Because we're going to start bringing that into reality. So we act as if we're already that business. So you can almost drop the we will become and just go, we are this business. And if we are this business, what would we be doing then that we're not doing now? And let's just start whatever of that we can. So it might not be do all of it, but what part of it could we start and do it?
So is that the part where it's fair to say if success is about helping us be the better version of ourselves, then how would that person act if they were already having the results that were showing that we were that version of ourselves and just do that? Yeah.
Well, we know how you think determines how you act, right? So this is what I said. If you go into the 3-year version of your business, go, well, how would this business think and act? What would it be doing? What's it doing there? Well, what if that could we start doing now? Because, we're all familiar with the law of attraction, right? But you can sit there and visualize having that business and you can affirm having that business. But the law of attraction only works, once again, sidebar, the law of attraction only works when you employ the last 6 letters of the word attraction. Action.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, so once you visualize, oh, this is cool, and then go, okay, well, let's just start taking action on it. And guess what? It will start to manifest itself into reality. But you got to take action.
Yeah, totally. Otherwise, it's just sitting there wishful thinking.
Yeah. So that's how you use mission. Is we sit there and go, hang on, and this team, and this is great. If you're leading a team, leaders, if you're leading a team and you're working on something, go, well, hang on, if we actually became this that we're talking about in the next 3 years. Like us, if we want to become if we're the global community of purpose-driven leaders or evolving purpose-driven leaders, what would we be doing in 3 years' time that we're not doing now? And what of that could we start doing? Or how would we handle this problem in 3 years? And what of that could we start doing it now? And this is the way we work. And we go, okay, well, we'd be doing this, this, and this. Well, let's just start doing that then.
Yeah.
And we bring that into reality by taking action on it. But
and we are at Circle Leadership.
Yeah, 100%. But if we don't know what it is, or we can't define it and describe it, here's the boat, people. this is what the boat's going to look like. Well, hey, what if we start gathering this type of wood now? We get those sales now. If we get this and we get, well, great. Let's start building the crew that we need for that. What do you know? The pilot, the captain, what do we need?
There's a sale at Bunnings. Let's capitalize on it now.
Right. All right. So mission is the next evolution of your business. It is not purpose. It is not vision, because there's a lot of times when mission and purpose get confused. So please let me assure you that mission is not purpose. The way to craft it is to sit there and decide, okay, who do we need to become to start creating that world, and use it to bring it into reality. Use it to help your people to start thinking about what we would be doing then that we're not doing now. All right. And the hashtag mission evolves in the comments, and we will get you the workbook. I know Tiana's there ready and waiting to send people all the workbooks. Thanks, TP. All right. That'll do for this week. And next week, we're going to talk about the strategy component and the methodology in which we use to help people bring that mission to life.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. So I'm pretty excited for that. Because it's going to be, once again, this is the reimagining the way you think about strategy piece.
Yes. Love that.
And it's time to reimagine the way we think about strategy, because we've been doing it, whatever's not going to serve us in the way the world is today. So stay tuned for that. Look forward to seeing all. Please download the workbook. Any comments, questions based on the live stream, if you watch it later, please put it in there and we'll get back to you on everything. Thank you. Thanks, TP, for all the work in the background there. And we'll see you guys all next week.
Peace, homies.